Well, hello and welcome to Focus on Africa, coming to you from BBC News. Ethiopia's Amhara region witnessed 6 days of violent protests after the federal government announced plans to dissolve the regional Amhara special forces and then integrate them into the national army. Now, the federal army and the regional forces have been clashing in recent days over this particular issue, and there have been reports coming in of people who have died as a result of those clashes. But today, there have been some indications that those protests have started to quell. Well, to discuss this further, I'm joined now by the BBC's Africa regional editor, Will Ross. Will, lovely to have you here in the studio with us. I wonder if we could just start off with the context. Why are they protesting? What's the big issue?
So the big issue is there are plans by the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his government to change basically the structure of the regional forces. Right across Ethiopia, this vast country, each state or region has its own force. And over the years, some of them have got more and more powerful, leading to a situation really where you have the federal army and then what are called special forces that some people say are somewhat out of control because they can no longer be controlled by the federal government. So the proposal is to take these regional forces and integrate them into the national army. So you have one army. But the people in Amhara, or at least many people out on the streets, are worried about this proposal because they feel that if they don't have their own soldiers there defending them, the Amhara interests, they feel they'll be more vulnerable to attacks from outside, whether by rebel groups or even perhaps from other regions in the country.
It's interesting, isn't it, Will, because we've seen something similar with the M23 and the DRC integrating them into the army. That was one of the discussion points over the last few years. What are the governments saying about these regional forces saying, hang on, we're not ready yet?
Well, the government is saying, and Abiy Ahmed in particular is saying, that even if there's a price to pay, and we've been seeing that over the last few days with these protests, some of which have turned violent. We've also had clashes between the federal army and the special forces in the Amhara region. He says even if there's a price to pay, we're going to go ahead with this policy because he says it's better for the country's unity and overall security. So that's his argument. Another source of the anger in the Amhara region is these Amhara special forces fought alongside the government troops in the war against the Tigrayan rebels. So they feel now that they're kind of not being helped by the Prime Minister. They feel that they're almost being punished for all that help they gave to the government by now having this special force disbanded.
How key is it that this is resolved? Because to reach the point where we've had calm, particularly with the conflict in the Tigray region, there is a lot of regional stability. There's been a lot of voices on the continent that have helped to reach to this point.
Well, it's a really important moment because not only is there going to be ongoing tension in the Amhara region over this proposal, in the larger Oromia region, potentially even more problems there. They've got a rebel insurgency going on, and it could be that the government wants to take a stronger stand with a national army against those rebels, because at the moment you've got a lot of divisions in Oromia and the Oromo Special Forces not doing the work that the central government wants them to do. So it's important that this gets resolved peacefully because potentially you've got these different units, very well-armed units, turning on each other. And we've seen a taste of that this week, although, as you say, things do seem to have calmed down over the last few hours.
Okay. Will Ross, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. And Will has been updating this story online along with many stories